the second day of ownership of the 2012 FZ6R that I've acquired. Traded the YZ125 that I used to have for it, and a couple $100 cash on my end, and got this bike that was crashed really hard. The handlebars are all bent up, the forks were broke off. The guy put these forks on there. They need to be rebuilt, but overall the bike runs and everything. Had a little bit of a misfire. It's missing a radiator. Got a lot of parts on the order for it, but tonight we're just checking over the spark plugs because it felt like I had a little miss. And I got the air box out and it looked like something was living in here, so could explain the intermittent misfire. Rubber cover out finally. There was like a lot of earth shreds, wood and stuff like that down in here right next to my coil, so some creature's been living in here and probably wreaking havoc on the coil. Perhaps I'm gonna investigate a little further, check out the spark plugs, see what we got. So we got all the spark plugs out, and they're all absolutely roached. Checked them with the feeler gauge, and it's supposed to be at 0.7 millimeters. Yeah, 0.7, and it's got so much room in there to move around on each one. They were smoked. So we're gonna get some more of those, and probably run a lot better after that. So we got a clear picture of how this thing looked. Oh my god. Broken and smashed. Original owner crashed and broke the forks in half, so this is off of a FZ6 instead of a FZ6R, which is what this bike is. Different wheel obviously, so it's off the other model. It's the original one, but can't wait to finish it. Ooh, yeah, definitely gonna need a new one of those. Alright, so we are waiting on a couple of things before we can put that stuff back together, but we have got the neutral switch in. We're gonna replace this bad boy, see if the bike can detect when it's in neutral or not now. Alright, now let's see if we have neutral now. Hey, looks like we do. That's awesome. So that means that fixed that, so that is good. New spark plugs, got a new air filter. Look at the difference. This thing is crazy. We're gonna go ahead and put all that stuff in there, get the top of the bike all buttoned back up again, and fire it up, see how it runs. Well, all the spark plugs are gapped and put in. Just gotta put our little cover back on there. Man, this thing is pretty hard to get situated in there. Got it almost all the way. Got a little spot down here in the corner. Gotta get up under the coil pack. Finally, we're all settled in there, and I got everybody's favorite hose clamps slid up. God, those things suck. Everything on the airbox is put together. It's doing the last bolt now, so I think we're good. Oh, can't forget the intake air temp sensor. Okay, got our plugs for the fuel tank. Put the fuel tank on there, and I think we'll be ready to fire it up. Alright, we're going to prime it a couple of times. There's probably some air in the line. Dude, this thing is like, it's insanely loud. running condition of the bike has definitely improved greatly because the spark plugs, you know, they were gone big time. Grand Canyon gap. So it's running pretty good now. We're waiting on radiator, so we can get that bad boy mounted back up and get that all together. We're waiting on this bracket, and that's supposed to be here in a day or two, and we can get all that mounted up, get the rear brake all sorted, which I think it's okay, and that and the radiator really be ready to rip, just at least for some test rides. The light is on its way too. You got to figure out our control panel area. Bars will be here tomorrow, so gonna change controls out because these things are, they're torqued, buddy. Whew. Guys, lucky to be alive, I swear.
You been singing as a young boy?
I was singing since I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
The Eric Andre Show, podcasts like Joe Rogan.
Got the new one, even though it's highly modified and slightly messed up, but it's really hard to find the right side of these that's in good condition and not $1 million. So we're gonna put this one on there and fix this one. Alright, got the new bars on. Let's see. All right. Nice car, dude. Quite a bit of work so far, and it rides okay. The forks, you know, feel crazy, but I tightened up the stem nut. It was pretty loose, so hopefully that'll help some. Definitely need to rebuild them still, but I'm waiting on the radiator. That's the last thing I kind of need to do other than the lights. But while the radiator is not there, I'm gonna go ahead and flush the system, put some air in the bottom of this thing, garden hose in the back, and you put this in the coolant hose, and this flushes it out nice and good. So we're gonna do that. Seems to be on there pretty good. Turn the hose on. So we got some good flow. Can hit it with some of the air, but it gets a little powerful. Alright, we're gonna fire up the bike, let it get warm, and cycle some of that stuff through. We'll let it run for a while, and it was never gonna come up to temperature because this water is so cold going through it, but we did a decent flush, so gonna move on and go ahead and move on to the next part. New grips and some new mirrors. Let's see what that looks like. Got our fancy new Chinese grips. Very cool. Oh, that just kind of slid on by itself. Had to trim a little off the end of the grip because it was getting caught in the mirror, but it's pretty good. So the mirrors and the grips look really good, I think, but I did find a problem, which is that the clutch hits the mirror. So I really like the positioning of the mirrors here, so I'm just going to sacrifice the ball right here and just cut it off so we got some good clearance. Beautiful, much better. Got our new Amazon light. Gonna put that on there, and we'll be really close to done other than the rear tail light. And I'm still waiting on a very important piece, which is the radiator. It was supposed to be here yesterday, and it did not show up. So once we get that, we can ride it on the road and go all sorts of places with it. All right, here we are a few days later, and got pretty much everything on the bike for the most part. Need some paint and some fork seals, but other than that, rode it around a little bit, and it's feeling pretty all right. Still got zip tied on dash right here, but we'll get that fixed at some point very soon. But right now, we just wanted to get it on the road and shake it down, see how it feels. Just tighten up the chain, and run it up to the store and back, and see how it feels. Been obsessed with SpongeBob lately, so he wanted some beef sliders, aka Krabby Patties probably. So I got some White Castle ones, and then I got some actual ground beef and stuff to make some real ones on the Blackstone. See how that goes. The trick is trying to get it all in your bag there, but this is a small run, so no problem. All right, we're gonna take the slightly longer route home. A little bit better. Better of a ride. That was a pretty nice ride. I enjoyed that. It handled pretty decent, and once we get those fork seals, be riding good, man. Feeling nice. This light we got off Amazon, it was cheap, you know, and it looks good, and it's a decent quality, but it's not very bright. So I ordered 2 more things off Amazon, which are 2 LED little pods right here, and they have taken it from this to this, which is so much better. I tried to ride at night before and I could not see anything. So we're gonna take it for a ride like this and see how much better night riding is now. And we're going from this to this. Hey, there we go. Making a couple adjustments to the lights here, and I'll slide it back and then tighten the bolt up that's holding the bracket so it doesn't turn so much in this direction, and then we're going to adjust this to make it a little bit more straight out and forward for us. Back in the workshop, we're gonna get this thing up in the air so I can get the wheel off of it and pull the forks off. We got all the stuff we need to rebuild the forks. Also got some foam filter oil for our 450, but that's a whole nother thing. But we're gonna go ahead and get these things off of here and get these rebuilt and be feeling pretty good after that. bushings on there tight. These things are so tight. I think they're all supposed to be like 20 foot-pounds or something like that. Ooh. This one looks like it's sliding through our headlight bracket right here, so we'll take him. Ooh. That stuff is looking terrible. Stopping for a little break. Got the spring and the spacer and the washer out. About to take the seals out and get the rest of it apart. Got all our bushings replaced right here. Now we're just cleaning up the barrel and gonna put some fluid in it, get it bled, and put it all back together. So normally you would need a seal driver to put this seal in the rest of the way, but I'm gonna take the old seal, I've cut it so it slides on and off really easy. And I'm gonna take it right here, and I'm gonna take a pipe that I have and slide it over this and hit that onto there. I've had this pipe for like 4 or 5 years in my toolbox doing nothing, absolutely nothing. And of course, after 5 years of doing nothing, it fits perfectly over this to drive the seal in. That is insane. So I got the seal drove in there. Just need to put the circlip in, put the dust seal on, and do the other couple of things and fill it up full of fluid. And we'll do the same thing on the other side.
Criminal Goldilocks is munching away when the door rings. The Gerald's all like, "What's going on here? Who are you?" And Goldilocks through the window, hits the floor and starts running.
We set the height of our oil and we pulled a little bit out of it, so I think we're about good. All right, we've got the bike down off of our state-of-the-art lift right here, and everything's put back together, bolted up. Let's just go take it for a ride, see how it feels. So yeah, that's not exactly what you want to see after rebuilding your forks, is oil everywhere. So the fork that was not leaking, that didn't need to be rebuilt, is now leaking. The fork that needed to be rebuilt is not leaking. All right, so we got the leaking one off and all the way apart again. Looks like the bushing that goes right here and the washer that goes in front of that, the bushing did not fit properly inside of there, which I should have known because on the other fork I couldn't get it to fit properly. And I used the original one, which is what I'm going to end up doing, putting that back in there so that fits. Because what happened was, because that didn't fit all the way, you can see the marks on it, how it only seated halfway of the bushing. This whole thing is supposed to seat. And because it didn't go all the way, the washer, when I pressed the seal and the bushing in, the washer bent itself around. This is supposed to be flat. It bent itself around the bushing. So that's why I was leaking. So I'm going to put the old one back in there and get a new washer. The fork is put back together and put back on the bike. I already took it for a ride. It doesn't seem to be leaking, so that's great. Take it for a strong spirited ride around a couple roads near the house. Got a cardo installed on my helmet, pretty cool. good. Thank you. Yo. Well, I think that kind of concludes this video. We successfully took a really crashed bike and made it roadworthy again. Sorta. As always, if you made it to this part of the video, I really appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.